They're serious, such as a handbag snatch, can have equally devastating consequences.
Well, we used to go on Friday night. Two of our friends were there before we arrived. The conversation would start off of whatever we'd been doing during the week. It was just general talk. When we went on holiday and we used to take our cameras with us, we'd take photographs. Each and every one of us used to bring the photographs in.
Now have a look at that. Now who's that? Oh, Brenda, how do I know? Oh, you were at school with her.
You're talking after 12 o'clock or just before 12 o'clock. Brenda and I used to leave the pub. So we did walk slowly along that road, so it took us about 10 minutes before we got to the end of the road where we used to stand then and talk for about 20 minutes by the cottages on the forecourt of the garage. And then we used to just separate. She'd go across the forecourt and I'd go down Keybank Road home.
Once she'd left Beatty at the corner of the road, my mum tended to always keep to the left-hand side as she walked up. There were security lights there, so she felt safer.
Brenda went to a friend's house who took her home and then called the police.
I was saying, you know, you're okay, and her elbow was cut, and I think there was cuts to her arm as well. But it was her knee that was causing her the greatest amount of pain, and she was trying to disguise it as best she could, and she didn't want the doctor to be called. But then, really, as the hour went on, she was in a great deal of pain and discomfort, and in the end she agreed to. A sister came round and said, you know, we should really, if we could call the locum out, just to make sure to be on the safe side.
4 days after the attack, we had made another appointment at the hospital to go on the Tuesday. As we were leaving the hospital on the Tuesday, they'd given my mum a Zimmer frame to help get round on, which my mum said she didn't need anymore, that she would just be able to lean on me. As we were coming out of the hospital, we were just on our way to the car, and she said she didn't feel very well. And I just felt her, like, fall. I thought she'd fainted.
Mum? Mum?
My mum's absolutely fantastic. She just meant the world to us. You could always go to her if we had a problem, but it doesn't matter how big or how small.
She died in hospital because a blood clot travelled from her knee to her lungs.
Our whole lives have changed, really, every aspect of it. She was the biggest part of our family. She was the rock. Every day we just have to do as best we can for that day and take one day at a time, really. And just hope that we do her proud, really. Look after the children as best we can.
Well, it's now 2 years since Brenda died, but as you can see, the emotions of her 4 daughters and her husband are still very raw. And the community is still just as keen to solve the crime. There's a £10,000 reward. Detective Superintendent Brian McNeill is determined to solve the case. I mean, Brian, what chance is there, 2 years on now, that people will still have useful information for you?
I think there is a good chance now. I mean, since the actual incident occurred, there's a possibility that people may have talked. We've got the reward, as you said, £5,000 from the Liverpool Echo, £5,000 from this Crime Stoppers, and there's also obviously the conscience of the 2 men involved. It may be time for them now to come forward and explain what happened that night.
I guess it's always possible that either people's allegiances have shifted, their relationships have changed, they may have been involved with these people they are no longer and feel at last that they can talk to the police.
That's correct, yes. And there's obvious opportunity here for the second lad involved, who appears, from what we've seen and from what Brenda told us, not to be too much involved, but it's for him to come forward and tell us that, and we can only assess that when he comes forward and speaks to us.
I mean, I guess if he was not involved in the planning of this, if he was taken by surprise by this, if he wants to exonerate himself, now is the time to come forward and talk to you, isn't it?
That's right, and we aren't in a position to actually determine his level of involvement until he comes forward and tells us.
What about the man who took the bag? We saw him grappling there with Brenda. What do you know about him?
Yeah, well, both men are described by Brenda herself, because of course she gave us the statements on the night, as white lads in their 20s, slim build. The lad that actually took the bag from Brenda was wearing light-coloured trousers, a blue bomber-style jacket and a light-coloured woolen hat.
And you're pursuing a charge of manslaughter in this case. I mean, it is possible that the two men may not know that Brenda has died, and it's also possible that they wanted to take her bag, but they never intended to kill her.
That's true. I mean, there is a possibility that they don't know the actual result of what their actions, or the way their actions took them that night. But the reality is our investigation has established that the injuries that Brenda sustained that night led directly to the formation of the blood clots, which ultimately led to her death 3 days later.
So, irrespective of the fact they're just trying to take her bag, that's what killed her?
They take responsibility for their actions, yes.
OK, well, help us to help Brenda's family in all of this. 0500 600 600, or the Instant Room in Liverpool on 0151 777 4568. Life can deal an unpredictable hand. Untreated mental illness is one of the cruelest.
Jennifer was a quiet lady. She presented as really being quite shy, certainly very reticent and not at all willing to be sharing with us her past or where she'd been. She used to say she was just passing through, and she seemed to be quite happy with that. Most of the time she came dressed in the same things. She had a longish grey coat that she wore. She used to have several bags in a buggy, which she brought with her, so I presumed that was the rest of her clothes. From the time she first came to us in December, she came almost always 5 days a week. On the Friday, Jennifer came in as usual for her sandwich, and she was quite happy.
Hello, Jenny. How's it going today?
All right.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, she was laughing and joking more that day than I think any day that she'd come, which I felt was nice because I thought maybe I was starting to make a breakthrough.
Jenny hadn't always lived like this. 6 years ago, she'd been with her family in London.
Jennifer was a lovely, bubbly character. I met her on my travels as a young lad, and I decided to choose her as my companion to set up home with and have children with. We had children very young, so you know, life was a bit of a challenge. There was ups and downs, but overall it was a pretty good relationship. I was happy. She appeared to be happy. After the third child, she started to get sick. The upshot of her illness meant that the relationship broke down and she left the family home. Many years passed and we hadn't heard from her, and I was obviously very worried. I did try to make contact through social services, but wasn't able to.
Jenny almost certainly had mental health problems, but wanted to deal with it in her own way. She took to drifting for hours or days on end around Canterbury and Brighton, finishing up here in Eastbourne.
Well, we know Jennifer used to like to wander the streets of Eastbourne, particularly at night, and she would literally walk miles. And we're appealing for anyone who may have seen Jennifer walking along the seafront that night.
It was a Friday night almost 2 months ago when Jenny was killed.
Oh, you! Yeah, I'm talking to you!
But we don't know which of several incidents are relevant. First, soon after 6 p.m, a ginger-haired man was seen shouting at someone matching Jenny's description.
Where the hell do you think you're going? Come here!
But Jenny was fine and well. At 10 p.m, she showed up at a friend's house to have a bath.
Jenny, how you doing? You all right? I'm done.
And afterwards, as she often did, she went to wander on the seafront.
Hello, Jenny.
That witness on Upper Promenade was the last we know who saw Jennifer alive. But there were many others out that night. About an hour later, a cyclist went in the same direction, west, towards Holywell. Who was he? Sometime after, two men of Mediterranean appearance followed. And 2 hours later still, behind the Grand Hotel, which is near Holywell, there was another sighting.
I finished work at 3:15 a.m. I noticed a character walking down the middle of the road.
Excuse me, do you know where is train?
Train?
Yeah, train.
A train station?
Train station, yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
If you go down here, it's fourth on your left.
Thanks.
He had the appearance of Eastern European, medium build, blue jacket zipped up to the neck with blonde hair.
All these men are potential witnesses who have to be eliminated from the murder inquiry that was triggered 2 hours later by council workers on patrol.
Well, I'm a street supervisor at weekends. Well, there's two of us, actually. We keep an eye on about 20 people sweeping the town, sweeping the seafront and checking all the shelters out all the way up to the foot of Beachy Head.
I want to check those new boys in Hampton Park.
I was coming along the bottom prom here, going up towards Holywell, noticed the smoke coming out of the shelter. I put the headlights into the shelter, noticed a bulky shape there, got out and had a look at it and noticed what I first of all thought was a tailor's dummy that they'd set light to. But on closer inspection, it was a human body.
Call the police.
Jennifer was found in the shelter behind me. She had been brutally murdered, stabbed a number of times, and then I believe all her possessions were piled on top of her, including the buggy, and she was set alight.
The fact that she had become unwell, which made it difficult for her to bond with her family or contact her family, it could have happened to anyone. She was a loving, caring mum with a family that miss her dearly.
DCI Tony O'Donnell is leading the investigation. Tony, it's a really sad case, isn't it? There she was, with 3 children and her husband, and then within what, seemingly a year, she just left and fell off the radar, really.
Yes, it's desperately sad.
It is. I mean, there's a whole heap of witnesses, potential witnesses, that we've identified in that reconstruction. There's a bit more information about one of them. The man who was walking down Silverdale Road at, 3:15 in the morning.
Yes, that's
There's
right.
a bit more about him, isn't there?
Yes, he's come from the general area of the scene, and he's walking down the road. He's kind of vacant looking. He's in the middle of the road, and just before he approaches that man, a car actually has to slow down and go round him before he goes and talks to the man at the Grand Hotel. If you were the driver of that car, I'd like you to come forward.
With someone just walking along the middle of the road there.
Absolutely.
And what about, we saw the guy sleeping rough there who knew Jenny, and he talked about 2 Mediterranean-type looking men who walked past him, but there were 2 girls, weren't there, as well, that night?
Yes, almost immediately after the 2 Mediterranean men walked past, there was 2 young ladies walking behind them, not with them. They were talking in English, but they had foreign accents, and we've yet to identify those people.
There's also another man who was running by the murder site as well in the small hours.
Yes, we're not exactly sure the time. It could be 3 o'clock, possibly 4 o'clock. He's seen to run across the lawns and dropping down the embankment immediately on top of the murder site itself. He's described from a distance, dark clothing, wearing a bobble hat. We don't know who this person is. It may be innocent or he may be connected.
There's also a black suitcase, isn't there, in near, just to get the geography right, at a bus stop, which was just up from the murder site.
Yes, it's yet another piece. The morning of the murder, we searched the area, and on the seafront road, the main road above the murder scene, there's a bus stop, and in the bus stop we found a black case. There's scarves, items of clothing, balaclava. It appears to be maybe a rough sleeper's kit. Nobody's come forward, nobody's claimed that, nobody said, oh, you've got our kit, and we can't identify the owner of that. That also ties in with another sighting. That's about 1:30 in the morning of Jennifer's death. Two people, they saw a man not far from the bus stop walking up and down the road. He's extremely excited, he's agitated, waving his hands in the air, talking to himself or possibly talking on a mobile phone. Once again, we haven't been able to identify this man and we want him to come forward.
I mean, really, I think there are so many potential witnesses. It was, after all, what, Friday night, Saturday morning. A lot of people out and about. Just remind us when it was?
Yes, it was Friday night, Saturday morning on the 21st, 22nd of January this year.
And really, anyone who is out and about in that area through the night, through the small hours of the morning, you want them to contact you?
Absolutely. Lots of people are around, people clubbing, etc. They may have been on the seafront. They may not think they've seen anything that's significant, but if they were there and they haven't spoken to us yet, I would urge them to come forward.
OK, well, please don't let Jennifer's killer get away with it. 3 children have lost their mother. Call 0500 600 600 or the incident room in Eastbourne on 0845 60 70 999.
In December 2003. John Ryan was 54. He lived his life to a routine, and every afternoon he'd travel to Pick's Farm in East London to feed his horse and 6 greyhounds.
Hi, John.
How's it going? Loved his work. He never missed any days to work. He was a hard-working man. He used to come up about between 8:30 and 20 to 8 every night, and he'd go past the window.
Your dad's home. Put the dinner on, love.
Go up the top of the road, turn the truck around, so it's parking the right way. And that was his same routine every night, even Saturday and Sunday, do the same.
A tall, slim man was seen by several people. Who is he? A neighbour happened to come out of her house and was startled by the sight of John struggling with a man she'd never seen before.
Jack! Get it! Oh, my trunk! Get it! No, no! Get it! Ah!
Yeah, I've got fond memories, but everything's fond. Now he's not here. That's the things you think back of and you miss the most, because obviously he's not here to share them with you. You know you're not going to have their memories again. So what you've got to treasure. He loved his kids, he loved his wife, he loved his dogs, and most of all, he loved his granddaughter. We'll always talk about him as if he's still here to her, because at the end of the day, even though he's gone, I still feel him with me. And I'm going to make sure she knows who her granddad is, even though when she's 21 like me, she's going to know who her granddad is and know how much he loved her.
Well, John Ryan actually survived, but only for, what, 4 or 5 weeks. Because of the medical intervention, it then made it very difficult to establish some of the clues, which made it very tough for David Ainscough, who's now in charge of the inquiry. But let's start with what you have got to go on, and that's the description of the killer, and it's not a bad description.
It's not a bad description. We're looking for a white male in his mid-20s, about 5'7", 5'8" tall, slim build. Probably the most distinctive thing about him is that he's got possibly blonde, light brown, possibly even brown hair, which is tied in a high ponytail at the crown of his head and about 6 or 7 inches in length, the actual ponytail.
And that actor of ours is said to be a very, very good likeness. He looks slightly taller than he is. The actual killer was, what, 5'7", 5'8", you were saying?
Very similar in height to our victim, yes, and he had beige clothing on.
Now, you were telling me that a man of a similar description had actually been seen in the area several times before.
In the 2 months leading up to the actual fatal attack, a man with a similar description was seen in the area of Guildford Road, Walthamstow, on one occasion wearing a light blue Lecoq sportif top, and on another occasion with another white man wearing quite a distinctive red and black Averex baseball jacket, although I think I would describe it as more like a motorcycle type jacket.
Then if we saw in the reconstructions the bloke under the lamppost with the mobile phone, I mean, this is really an elimination from the inquiry, yes, because he doesn't fit the description of the killer.
No, that could be somebody connected with the killer, or it could just be somebody who's innocently there who could hold vital witness information for us.
So December 2003, if anybody's watching, they think, hey, that may have been me.
That's right.
Give us a call straight away. And about John Ryan himself, I gather you found it quite difficult to find out very much about him.
I've spent quite a lot of time speaking with his family, and he appears to be a man who kept himself to himself, and his work colleagues paint a similar picture to himself. So it's been difficult to paint a picture of his lifestyle and what he actually did beyond his greyhound racing and working for Murphy's. Although it has come to light recently that he may well have been involved in some petty theft of diesel and plant machinery from his employers. Whether that's a possible motive, I've got to keep an open mind.
It wasn't a mugging. What was it? There was a struggle for the bag. It looked from the reconstruction the bag was left behind.
Initially, a good assumption would be that this was a robbery or an attempted robbery, but nothing was actually taken from John, even when he was defenceless on the ground. The bag, as far as I'm aware, held no valuables, and I would just appeal to anybody that knows who killed John Ryan to give us that information, or if they know of a motive as to why this happened, or if they could fill us in any more about his lifestyle.
John Ryan himself?
That's right, yes.
All right, David, thank you very much. The number in the studio, 0500 600 600. Remember, it's a free call here. If you've got any information leading to the arrest and conviction of John's killer incident, it's a £10,000 reward. You can call the Instant Room if you prefer in Old Deptford. That's on 0208 284 8561.
Tyson, he fought over here with Nigel Benn.
What have you?
No, I'm all right, thanks.
See you later.
See you.
Tiger was my older brother. He has 4 of the sisters. He was the best brother you could ever want. He was very affectionate. He would always help his sisters, and you could see that with his children as well. He had 2 children, 2 little girls, Ava and Sky, and he was just the best daddy to them.
Although Tiger was very close to his family, he was very secretive about his working practices. We know he worked as a bodyguard for people, and we know he moved packages around for people. What we don't know is who he was working with on the day he was killed, and his movements on that particular day.
Later, a man was walking down Hertford Road. He heard gunshots coming from Cedar Avenue.
I looked down Cedar Avenue and saw a dark blue van. I saw one man. He was running, he was stocky, he was wearing a cream-coloured top. And left into Hertford Road and went past me. The number plate on it started with a K. As I carried on walking past the Rose and Crown, I saw some kids standing outside.
Do you know who these teenagers were? They may... 10 minutes after that, a driver decided to turn round in Cedar Avenue. Tiger had been shot twice in the head at point-blank range and died at the scene. He was 33 years old.
On the Thursday, the police gave the rest of Eva, who's 3.5, and I picked her up in my arms and I said, "Would you like to say goodbye to Daddy?" And she said, tears, and I said I'd ask goodbye to her Daddy.
Well, this is DCI Dick Langley. I mean, it certainly looks like it could have been a contract killing, this, doesn't it? What about a motive?
We have absolutely no idea what the motive is at all. And yes, I agree with you. It does look like a contract killing.
And what about details of Tiger's life? I mean, that, as well as a motive for the murder, you want to know more about his life, don't you?
We do. Tiger was very secretive about his life. It was very clear with his family, but what he did to earn his living, no one seems to know, or certainly no one in the family knows. And we have no idea what he was doing the day he was murdered.
So any information as to what was going on in his life, as to his background, as you say, what he was doing the day he was murdered, that's the kind of information you want to know?
We do. They were both white. The driver was about 30, stocky build, brown wavy hair, scruffy, wearing a creamy coloured jacket or jumper. And the passenger was younger, between about 20, 25, with very distinctive cropped hair or skinhead type haircut, and wearing a very distinctive orange top with either a blue or green band around it, or brown band around it.
Certainly, putting all that together, the orange top with maybe the brown band around it, the people carrier. I mean, it's possible there are people in the criminal fraternity who know about this and aren't going to be particularly keen to talk to, you know, the likes of you here in the studio. I mean, calls here are absolutely untraceable. I mean, obviously you'd like them to call openly, but they could call anonymously if they want, couldn't they?
Yes, they.
If you know a motive for Tiger's murder, you can tell us anything else about him. Maybe you're a friend of his. You don't want this to go unpunished. Call us in the studio. It's untraceable, as I said, on 0500 Police here. You can call Crime Stoppers anonymously on 08.
A replica this because they are very rare. Contrary to the impression we get from the papers and the rest of the media, firearm murders are actually declining. Last year, for example, they were down from 82 to 70. But this is something else. Its rarity in itself is quite a clue. And though almost nobody watching tonight will ever have seen a weapon like this for real, quite a lot of viewers, especially in the Midlands, may be able to solve the murder it was used for. Birmingham, July last year. Azmat Yaqub sold furniture from this indoor market on Kings Heath High Street.
You've got to stop the worrying, brother. Well, I won't let you down.
Azmat was very bright and a very intelligent person.
I'll drop it off tomorrow when I've got the van.
He was working very long hours, and I complained many times that why you have to work that many long hours. But he said, I like it, you know. He was quite happy with his work.
He was a very loving son. He was very generous, kind and warm.
2 years ago, Azmat had a very public falling out with individuals at his local mosque. It turned nasty. Fearing retaliation, he took to wearing a bulletproof vest. It was no wild overreaction. Soon afterwards, the vest saved his life. He and a friend were hit by shotgun fire in a drive-by shooting. The driver was killed. Azmat escaped injury. Azmat spent a lot of his free time here at this gym, Chic Physique on Foreman's Road.
Cheers, fella.
Hey, how's it going?
Knackered, man. I'm tired.
You look tired, man.
I feel it, I feel it. Anyway, listen, you've got the place to yourself, good Dave ain't here, yeah?
Ah, that's the way I like it.
Cool.
Listen, guard these with your life.
What, take it for a spin and then guard in my life, yeah?
You're very good doing that.
Enjoy it.
The gym was relatively quiet, apart from youngsters in a kickboxing class.
Right, left, right, left.
Azmat knew how to look after himself. Regular gym sessions left him with an athlete's physique, but it also left him vulnerable. You can't train in a bulletproof vest.
Hey, Azmat. Hey. How's it going, man?
Good to see you, man.
You all right?
Yeah, man. I see you've been eating well.
Thank you,
man.
Oh, what are you saying, man? Say it, man. All my bros together.
Hey, what's happening, man?
So, what's the score? Are you both up for the circuit training?
No, I'm up for it, man.
I know you are. You
know that.
I'm definitely up for it, man. Listen.
Cool.
Left, right, and left.
Right! On the floor! Get on the floor now! Get on the floor! Get on the floor now! Don't move!
Take it. And pull it, guys.
I'll see you guys later, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice one.
Turned around just to take a glance and a look at what was happening, and everything just seemed like it was a blur. It all seemed like it was in slow motion. I just realised what had happened. Azmat had been shot.
I need a phone. Has anyone got a phone? Look, get an ambulance. Just get an ambulance on the phone.
What are you having to do for it?
The silver BMW was seen by two men heading in the direction of Shaftmore Lane.
Somebody told me that there had been some shooting in the gym, and I asked the policeman that I can't see any ambulance. I want to know. My son was in the gym as well, and he asked me what is the name of my son. I told him, and he told me that your son has been shot dead.
My grandson is 6 years old. He said to his mom, "Mom, I wish I am in the grave." And his mother said, why do you want to be in the grave? He said, "I want to lie down next to my father because I miss him very much."
I got no peace. I put a brave face to my children and my friends. But when I am on my own, I'm crying my head off.
This is Detective Chief Inspector Neil Beachy. I mean, this was so brazen. They went in there without any disguise at all?
No disguise at all, Nick. I've got a description of the gunmen here. They only wore sunglasses, as far as we believe. The man that actually shot Azmat is described as a white man, 5'9" to 6 foot tall, late 20s to early 30s. He was of medium build, and he had a slim face, and he was clean shaven.
He had, you say clean shaven, what was that on his, in the reconstruction we put a bit of tape there, but I'm not sure what that was on his chin.
Well, some people have said he had a goatee beard, other people have mentioned a piece of tape. We've also not ruled out the fact that there was a piece of tape holding perhaps a wire there, a microphone. And one suggestion is that he could have actually been communicating with somebody. Was he communicating to somebody outside in the car as the getaway driver?
Because he was heard to say he's down.
He was, yeah. Now, that may have been something to signal that things were going well in the gym in terms of the actual planned execution.
No obvious accent. You don't know if he was...
No.
I mean, presumably not local if he's made no attempt to disguise himself. But no obvious foreign accent.
No. He only said 2 words, unfortunately, but nothing that would stand out particularly.
And the guy with the handgun who was holding them at bay?
Yeah,
outside?
he's described as a black man. He's 5'10" to 6 foot tall. He's of slim to medium build, and again in his late 20s to early 30s. Short black hair, again clean shaven, and wearing dark coloured clothing with a black baseball cap.
Now he may or may not be local, but the driver, I mean, this is in Stratford Road.
Yeah.
Which can be very heavy with traffic. Presumably they'd have used a driver who knew the area.
Yeah, I think so. The Stratford Road is a particular bottleneck around Birmingham, and I think there would have been at least one local man within the vehicle to both get the offenders to the scene and to effect the escape.
And what looks like a fairly new 5 Series BMW, silver one, which you still haven't found where that
We haven't
from.
located the vehicle, Nick, no, and from our CCTV inquiries we're happy that it's a 5 Series BMW of the new shape which came onto the market March 2003.
Now, I said at the beginning I thought many people in the area might be able, quite a few people anyway, would be able to help with this. There was a much publicised feud that Azmat had. He's often called Tony, isn't he?
He is,
that
yeah.
he'd had.
Yeah.
You need to hear from people about that, or do you know all about that?
Well, we know something about that. We don't want to leave any stone unturned in our investigation, and it's apparent that there was a public fallout with Azmat and a number of men from within his local community, and we'd appeal for any information that would relate to that as well.
It's so easy to call us here, 0500 600, or you can call the Instant Room in Birmingham, 0121 200 2552. Let me stress, you don't have to give your name, though obviously it helps if you do. You can call Crime Stoppers, another free phone number, 0800 555 111.
5th, Michaela Hague was stabbed 19 times while working in Sheffield's red light district. We've appealed on this before. The police now have some important new evidence they hope, with your help, might finally catch her killer.
Michaela were close to her sister because they were like twins, wore the same clothes. They just spent most of their time together.
We've got loads of photographs when they were all young. Until they get to about 16 and then they don't want to be photographed.
She left school, she worked, Then she met her boyfriend, only boyfriend she ever had. She was a good mother. And he's a good little boy. They were always together, always together.
We found out about 2 years ago that she was taking heroin.
What Michaela's parents didn't know was that recently she'd started working to feed her habit in Sheffield's red light district. Bonfire night in Sheffield. Around 7 p.m, instead of going to a fireworks party, a man was cruising the red light district, drawing attention to himself. He was driving around for about an hour, and shortly before 8, he approached Michaela for business. She got into his blue Sierra. They drove up to a disused area by the IMO car wash in Spitalfields. By the time he drove off 13 minutes later, she'd been stabbed 19 times in the back and neck. A police officer held Michaela as she lay bleeding.
She kept asking me if the ambulance was coming, and I told her that it was. She appeared as though she was going to fall asleep every now and again. Kept having to just gently rock her and bring her back to me, asked her to stay with me. He said that a body had been found, and it was Michaela. And straight away I thought it were drugs. I said, has she had done an overdose? He said, no, she's been stabbed. And it's just absolutely tore us all apart, all the family. My wife still can't believe that it's happened. He asked for his mum the other night, and his dad had to say, she's there, she's a star in the sky.
And that's what he thinks. He thinks she's a star in the sky.
Chief Superintendent Paul Broadbent's leading the investigation. Paul, you're back here because you've got new information. What's the new information you've got?
We have fresh information that a black guy was seen in the area on the 5th of November 2001, bonfire night, and he was close to the scene, and we believe he may have some vital information to assist us. We know for a fact he's not the person who killed Michaela because she described the man who killed her as a white man. So we need this black guy to come forward and assist us with our inquiries.
What about the car? Because when we appealed on this before, I remember doing it very clearly, and we talked a lot about the car, but you've got yet more information on that as well, haven't you?
Yes, we have. We've managed to trace 4,000 and eliminate 4,000 Ford Sierras, dark blue.
4,000?
Yes. But now we know fresh information. It's C-Reg that we're looking for, so we're trying to narrow that down. Anyone with a C-registered Ford Sierra, dark blue in colour, round about bonfire night, 2001, come forward and we can either rule you in or rule you out of our inquiry.
You've talked to an awful lot of prostitutes and punters. It's not easy for them to come forward and talk to people like you, but they have.
Yeah.
But there's two in particular you want to talk to.
There are 381 prostitutes we've talked to. They've given some excellent information, but we do know second-hand that a prostitute has been met by a man called Ken or Keith, and this person has shown what to me is an unhealthy interest in this kind of crime, asking some strange questions. I need the girl to come forward and Ken or Keith to talk to me so we can resolve any issues. I don't have any problem with him being there in the area. He's immune from prosecution in respect of being with a prostitute.
And you can offer him complete confidentiality as well?
Absolutely, yes.
But you want to talk to him?
But he needs to come forward and talk to us.
Well, you can hear the police are not going to let this drop. 0500 600 600 or the instant room in Sheffield. That's on 0114 296 4700. 8-year-old mother. It looks like that'll be the last thing police find. She's been missing now for 5 months. And despite this, the picture of her killer is getting slowly clearer. At first glance, these CCTV pictures may not look like much, but they tell a terrible story. A woman walking to her car is attacked by her killer. You can just see a struggle. After stalling, he drives off. This is him caught later in a speed trap. Do you know who he is? Michelle Gunshon was a security guard whose job took her all around the country. Last December, she was working at Birmingham's NEC and staying with 2 colleagues at a city centre pub.
We'd stay together. If we're in a different area, and there's only 3 of us, we'd stay together. Even though we got separate rooms, we'd stay together. We'd go for a drink or go out for a meal. We'd just stick together after work.
Well, we'll be down there.
Yeah, I might pop back down a bit later.
OK.
And she said, yeah, I'll come down later on. And because she never, I thought, well, she's just tired or she's on the phone.
We used to phone each other 5-6 times a day.
Hello, darling, how are you?
So I said to her, have I woke you up? She went, yeah. I said, well, I'll let you go back to sleep. I'll give you a ring tomorrow. And that's the last time I spoke to her.
Michelle? Michelle?
Knocked on the door. No reply. Telly was on in the room. Then we started thinking, oh, where'd she go?
All the signs were that she just popped out to her car. But her car was gone, leaving her colleagues to get a taxi to work.
And then when we got to work, we asked the managers, have they seen Michelle Gunshon? And they said, no, she hasn't arrived in.
And then things just started ringing, that there's something not right, because she's not that sort of person to go off without notifying somebody.
Well, leaving us stranded. She's not like that at all, to leave us stranded there.
Look at that.
Mobile phone, she don't leave anywhere. She just don't go anywhere without it.
Two hours later, and still no sign of Michelle. But
there was nothing there. Absolutely everything was gone. All her clothes, her suitcase, keys, purse. And I said, this is weird. And that's when we got the police involved.
She was a mature person. She was in a stable relationship. She had 3 children. Her life was on the up. Everything was going well. There were no reasons at all that we could identify as to why she might have just decided to disappear for a few days.
48 hours later, the first clue.
9934 to Foxtrot 1 over. Yes, I'm with a blue Ford Escort.
Who had abandoned Michelle's car in Ray Street? Who had driven it up to its wheel arches in mud? In the boot, police found Michelle's blood-stained security coat.
Said we found the car with stains on it. I knew she's not coming back. I just turned around and I said, just for your state, Mum's not coming home. And I walked out.
A full-scale murder investigation was now underway. Then another breakthrough. Michelle's car had been snapped by speed cameras on the very morning she disappeared. But who's behind the wheel? The driver was caught heading into the city centre along the Bristol Road at 8:20 that morning. Then he looks to have headed back out of town because he's picked up again 45 minutes later, driving back in along the Hagley Road.
When I look at those speed camera pictures, I'm convinced that I'm looking at Michelle's killer. What troubles me most is that we don't know where Michelle is. We're convinced that she has been murdered and that her body has been dumped somewhere, and the area that we're focusing on is the south-southwest corridor leading out of Birmingham.
While experts had one eye on the countryside, a major clue was unearthed in the heart of the city, just yards from where Michelle went missing. Police believe it reveals precisely how she went missing.
We have CCTV footage which shows a single figure
walking to her car. I think that she's woke up early. She's decided to nip downstairs to go out to her car, bring it back to the Dubliner car park so that she can then load it and give the guys an extra 10 minutes in bed. For that split second, she's been vulnerable. In looking at that footage time and time and time again, we now believe that we can see a second figure who takes Michelle by surprise. There's a very, very brief struggle. I think Michelle's been pushed into the car from the driver's side and forced across to sit in the passenger seat. I think the offender has then jumped into the driver's seat, has grabbed hold of her and has forced her head down into the dashboard. And the offender drives off from Mill Lane, turning left onto Digbeth High Street. I don't think she ever had a chance.
Hoping to find my mum so I can put my mum to rest. Because that's one thing what's doing me head in, is not knowing where she is. Just want to put to rest with my nan to get it over and done with. And then we can sort out what goes on from there.
Detective Inspector Ian Bamber's leading the investigation. Ian, looking at that CCTV footage, I found it pretty hard, to be honest, to see quite what was going on, though you've looked at it in enormous detail, gone over and over and over it. I mean, one thing that's very clear is there's someone walking past, isn't there?
Yeah, I think...
A witness. Has that person come forward?
No, we've not had the call from that person, and I'm convinced it's a woman, possibly on her way to work at 7:15 on that Sunday morning. She must have seen the car.
You can see that person walking past there,
She must have seen the car. Did she see two people in it? Did she notice a struggle?
Now, you caught the car on CCTV twice because it went past a speed trap, which is obviously brilliant for you in terms of helping the investigation. You've got a new CCTV that we can look at, which might give more information as well.
In between the two speed camera activations, there's this CCTV footage.
Yeah, these stills from it here. Now, what can we see here? This is what is it, black?
Our Ford Escort comes up very closely behind a black Vauxhall Corsa.
Black Vauxhall Corsa.
The driver must have felt the car so close behind.
He's right up behind. You see the brake lights on there.
He's got plenty of options to overtake, and he doesn't go for that. Where did that vehicle turn off? If the driver of that black Corsa can get in touch with us, he might help us be able to set some better search parameters for where the car went.
Well, let's be clear, you've got a 5-hour window here from, what, 7:15 in the morning?
Right up until about 12:35.
So where was she? And did anyone see Michelle and this person together in Birmingham or out of Birmingham, maybe in Woodland area?
Yeah.
And that's why there's so much mud on the car.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's one other thing, which is that an anonymous caller has rung in saying that they may have found Michelle's phone.
They say that the phone has been handed into the pub. It's not.
This is the Dubliner pub where she was staying.
Where Michelle was staying. I'm desperate for that anonymous caller to get back in touch with us so that I can try and audit track where Michelle's phone has been.
I mean, maybe this person was, I don't know, flogged the phone and doesn't kind of want to come forward and admit that they bought a
If there's any kind of handling stolen goods issue, I'm really not interested. But it is a massive piece of evidence that we can maybe link Michelle's phone to the offender.
OK, so we've got to put all those things together. That 5-hour window, that car that we saw there, were you the driver of the black Vauxhall Corsa, the stolen phone? If you've got any information that can lead to Michelle or where Michelle is buried, the police are convinced now she's dead. The number's 0500 600 600 or the incident room in Birmingham, 0121 200 2552.
The murder of Sean Brown was beyond the pale. One local described Sean as the Nelson Mandela of his community.
He was murdered 8 years ago near his hometown of Bellaghy. Another local happens to be the Nobel Prize-winning poet, Seamus Heaney.
Sean was a strong person in every way, physically strong, temperamentally, morally strong. As they say in Northern Ireland, there were no back doors in him. He's very direct. In a noxious time, Sean was a cleansing element that we could ill afford to lose.
Seamus Heaney with words that do Sean Brown justice. That could not be said of the original search for his killers. But now, with your help, the new police service of Northern Ireland wants to put past errors right. It's been 8 years since Sean Brown was beaten unconscious in Bellaghy, kidnapped, then murdered 12 miles away. The Royal Ulster Constabulary began inquiries, believing this was the work of the Loyalist Volunteer Force. But mistakes were made, evidence was overlooked, important documents disappeared. An independent review damned the investigation's failures. The job had not been properly done. 8 years on, a new team of detectives has started again from scratch. Everyone in Balachi knew Sean Brown. He worked at Ballymena Technical College and was chairman of the Wolfe Tones Gaelic Athletic Club. He was big on work and on sport. Politics was not his scene.
My father, he worked with both Catholics and Protestant students. He wasn't politically minded in any way. He ran the football club, which is a Catholic organisation. Anything he was run to bring in the other side of the community, the Protestant community.
The day before Sean Brown was killed, two local teams went hard at each other on the Balachi ground. Outside the main entrance, a witness saw a white Vauxhall Nova. In it, a woman and two men. It may well have been a recce for what was to happen the next night. On the Monday, preparations for another match were underway. The Wolfe Tones were taking on Banagher, and Sean Brown Jr. was there to help out.
OK, Dad, I'll put the netting on the goals.
Right, son.
Eugene Call wants to know what time the meeting's at tonight.
9:30 after the game.
OK, I'll call him and let him know.
Oh, yeah!
The Wolfe Tones won. By 9:30 p.m, the usual Monday night committee meeting was underway.
Yeah, there's some potholes out there, and they're as big as craters. The visiting team is going to fall on one of them, and we'll never find them for a week.
The meeting ended around 11:30 p.m. Sean and his son were the last to leave for home, a 2-minute drive away. Sean Jr. went on ahead. His dad stayed back to close the gate.
Come on, get off me! Get the boot.
And how'd it go?
Oh, it was a great game.
Yeah?
They turned it around in the second half, won easy.
The gang made off in a 3-car convoy. Sean Brown's fingers had been broken as he tried to protect himself. His skull was fractured, but he was probably still alive.
What's keeping Daddy? Should be back by now. Yes, maybe I'll take a spin around and see where he is.
Yes, do that.
The convoy sped towards Randallstown on the Hillhead Road.
Is he back yet?
No.
I went round, there's no sign of him, there's no sign of his car. The car park's empty.
Where would it be to this time of night?
I don't know, I mean, the gate's still open at the club. Shall I go out and have another look?
No. Go on you up to bed.
They drove straight past the RUC police station at Toome Bridge. Sean's car registration was recorded here at 11:41, 9 minutes after he'd set the alarm back at the club. At the old Moneynick Road on the outskirts of Randallstown, they turned off and drove up to a field. They shot Sean Brown 6 times in the face. A passerby saw the fire and called the police.
A man in his 60s shot 6 times directly in the face. How can anyone justify an action like that?
The tradition here is to leave the lid of the coffin open for the people to pay their last respects. With my father being shot 6 times in the head, we felt it was our duty to leave the lid of the coffin open. It was very harrowing for the family, and I'm sure it was for anybody that was coming to the wake to pay their respects.
We have had a terrible course in reality over the last 3 decades. What we might hope for is the initiation of a period of justice. And to initiate that period, nothing could be brighter and more beautiful than some kind of justice for the loss of Sean Brown's life.
In God's name, help to bring closure to this case. If you know anything, please bring it forward to the police and bring some of the agony of the Brown family to an end.
A new reopened and reinvigorated inquiry into this with a new investigating officer in charge of it, Detective Superintendent Patrick Steele. And that woman in that white car is obviously an important clue. The day before, it looked very much as though that was a reconnoitre for the murder.
It's a critical line of inquiry for us, Nick. We have the CD fit of the woman. We want to identify any witnesses who may have seen a woman resembling that CD fit, either in the run-up to the murder, the night before the murder, or on the night of the murder in Ballachy or the surrounding area.
In her car, do you think? I mean, it was clearly a white Vauxhall Nova. It wasn't burned out, so presumably it wasn't stolen.
Well, we believe the white Nova is central to the murder of Sean Brown. We have a white Nova seen outside the GAA club the night before. We have a white Nova seen there on the night of the murder, and we have a small white car seen exiting the actual murder scene. The 2 other vehicles, Mr. Brown's vehicle and the Vauxhall Cavalier, believed involved in the murder, were both burnt. This one wasn't. History in Northern Ireland would lead us to believe that that means that it actually belonged or was owned by someone involved in the murder or someone very close to them.
Now, you think you know pretty much who did this, and you think that Swinger Fulton, his real name is Mark, a prominent member of the UVF, who's now dead, yes, was one of the gang responsible for the murder.
Mark Fulton was a very significant suspect in this inquiry. As you say, he is now dead. What's significant is he was sighted at Tannockmore filling station, which is very close to the murder scene and very far away from where he lives, the day after the murder. Even more significant, he was with another male. We'd like to know who that male is.
So you think you know pretty much who these people are, but in order to get prosecution, you're going to need help from the loyalist community. Are you getting that?
We're getting some. We're getting help from both sides of the community. This appeal is direct to the loyalist community to give us more help. That's where the killers came from. Those are the people we want to hear from. Are you
close? I mean, could a single call tonight actually turn this inquiry for you?
The right call could turn this case.
OK, well, let's get that right call, please. Let me emphasise, all calls here to the studio are confidential and they are untraceable. 0500 600 600. It's free. There are Crimewatch staff here as well as police, detectives, and obviously it's always far more helpful if you're prepared to give your name and contact details. But whatever you're prepared to do, please help if you can. The incident room's also staffed up tonight. That's on 028 7939 9545.
Another daughter in her 20s. 1979. A little girl and her brother filmed by their family. The girl is nearly 2. Her name is Emma Caldwell. 25 years on, she's remembered as a 60-foot projection on council flats in the Gorbals. Emma's world had fallen apart so dramatically. This was the only way Strathclyde police could find out more about her secret life and her violent death.
Oh, and she was a lovely child, full of fun and just a magical child. Loved horses. We had a thing in the family and she used to say, "What would you like, Emma?" And she'd say, "A horsey, a horsey." And we would say, "When would you like a horsey?" "Right now I'd like a horsey." She was just a happy child, happy. We had a very happy life.
But Emma's life started to unravel when her sister Karen, sitting on the left, was diagnosed with cancer.
The following year, Karen died. I don't think Emma ever realised that anything like that could happen to you. That's what really Emma couldn't understand.
Emma found it hard to cope, but her boyfriend had an answer.
She said that she'd told him all her problems, and he had said, I know something to take the pain away. This will take the pain away.
Her mum said, what's wrong? You look dreadful, Emma. What's up?
She was really upset. And she said, I'm a heroin addict. And I was just couldn't believe it.
We didn't know what to do.
Oh, it was just awful. Just awful. Our lovely daughter.
Emma moved to Glasgow and eventually settled into a women's hostel in Govan Hill. Though she tried to get into rehab, she became more and more dependent on the drugs. The heroin transformed her. It became clear for all to see.
We were rather naive about it.
Yes, we were.
We had absolutely no idea how much Emma was using, and we weren't aware what Emma was doing to earn that money. Emma chose a way that only harmed Emma.
Uh-huh.
Emma would sometimes work the Glasgow Green area. But more often than not, she'd be found on Cadogan and Wellington streets in the city centre.
I wish she could have confided in me. More than anything, I wish she had told us. I really, really wish she had told us.
And if Emma had told us about the major problem she had, I would just have brought Emma home.
Taken her in her arms and brought her home where she belonged. It wouldn't have mattered to us. She was our daughter and we loved her no matter what. No matter what anyone thinks or anyone says about her. She was our child, our beautiful daughter, and we loved her.
Emma worked most nights to feed her habit. The hostel in Govan Hill bristles with CCTV cameras, and just before 11 on a Monday night in April, they picked her up for the final time. More cameras outside recorded a chance encounter. 2 important witnesses spoke to her and may know where she planned to go or who she planned to meet. One was wearing a hooped top. Who are they? Emma turned into Butterbiggins Road and vanished. 5 weeks later, 40 miles south of Glasgow, in the Lanarkshire Hills.
As you will be aware, the body of a female was found in a very remote area in South Lanarkshire. We identified that female as Emma Caldwell, a 27-year-old missing person. I spoke to the family yesterday afternoon and gave them the news that no parent should really ever have to hear.
To lose one daughter is unthinkable. It's a terrible experience. And you think, nothing like this could ever happen to me in my life again. This is as bad as it's ever going to be, to lose your child. And now Emma.
Well, your heart goes out to Emma's family, doesn't it, for all the trouble they've had to bear. But there are lots of ways viewers can help on this. The killer could be a drug dealer, he could be a regular client of Emma's, or possibly a visitor to Glasgow. Let's piece together what we know about the killer. He was in Glasgow on the night of Monday, the 4th of April. That's the Monday after the weekend that the Pope died. He's got a car, and he knows the area near Robberton in Lanarkshire, where Emma's body was found. It is somebody who's taken other prostitutes there. His behaviour may well have changed around this time. Looking at papers and television, particularly local papers in Scotland that are highlighting the case, you may have noticed something odd. His behaviour may have changed around that time. Now, Detective Superintendent Willie Johnson is leading this investigation. We saw on the CCTV there, Willie, a number of witnesses you want to speak to. In particular, first of all, those two people who appear to be walking past Emma that night and may have been talking to her.
We do know there was some interaction between these two individuals and Emma. One of them is most certainly a male who's wearing a very distinctive hoop top, which you've seen on the piece.
Might have been a Celtic top, might not have been, can't be sure.
We're unsure of the colour. However, our extensive door-to-door investigations near that scene have failed to reveal the identities of these individuals. I would ask anyone who knows who these individuals are, or the individuals themselves, to call us tonight.
And then there was a light BMW 3 Series car, again seen there. You don't think this person is a suspect, but might have information. Look, we can see it on the CCTV there coming into frame.
Yeah, we do know, Fiona, that vehicle appeared into Inglefield Street from Butterbiggins Road around the time that Emma turned that corner. So we do think that it's important that we trace the driver of that vehicle, who may have seen something vital for the investigation.
I mean, the key thing is here, she was walking from her hostel in Govanhill, walking towards the city centre. We don't know how far she got. So any witnesses who might have seen her on that walk, and she was wearing a coat exactly the same as this one. It's like it's a kind of fake sheepskin coat, denim coat, which has never been found, has it?
No, we sourced this jacket, which is an exact copy and right down to colour, from China in order for the piece tonight. That jacket is missing together with Emma's dark leather handbag.
That's right, because we can see that there. And the coat and the bag have never been found. What about prostitutes in the area? I know you've talked to a lot of prostitutes during this investigation, but there's still some you'd like to come forward, aren't there?
We have spoken to a large number of prostitutes, but we are aware that there are a small number who may have gone to the Abington service station, where there is a hotel, for sexual purposes. I would ask any prostitute who has not yet spoken to us to contact us tonight.
I mean, whoever's done this, it's likely, isn't it, that we're assuming it's a he, we don't know, will have talked to someone about this.
I think it probable that the person responsible will have mentioned to somebody, or has in some way shown adverse reaction to some press coverage of the case. And these are the people that I would wish to contact us tonight. I have seen, and people have seen tonight, the pain on the faces of Emma's parents, and they have said that she was introduced to drugs in order to take pain away. We need the call tonight that will take the pain away from her parents and give justice for Emma.
Okay, well, let's hope we can do that tonight. Put all the pieces of those clues together. Remember, this person may be local to the area. The Roberton, where Emma was found, is not that far from the north of England, so it maybe came from England. Most likely to have had some kind of transport, a car, a truck, a van, something like that. Put it all together. Call us here. The number's always on the screen. Or there's the instant room on 0141 532 4943. And his girlfriend, Kerry Youngs, that the couple almost certainly weren't the intended targets, but targets are what Kerry and Kevin most surely became.
A petrol bomb attack on this flat.
Rescuers reached 24-year-old Kerry Youngs. Both she and Kevin Chan.
A young woman has died after a fire in a block of flats in Essex.
I want you, the person who's done this, do us a favour. Come forward and let us have our Kerry back.
Police emergency. What's your name, please?
It's Kevin.
Kevin, your surname?
Chapel. I'm at number 8 Sherwood House. I think a petrol bomb has been thrown through the flat below. All the flats on fire.
You still in the building?
Well, we just want to get out now. I was just calling you.
Have you called fire, Kevin?
Yes, we have, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
On the Wednesday night, Kevin and Kerry came round here to my house for a cup of coffee. They left here about 5 to 10 to go back to Kerry's flat, which they never normally did. They normally stayed at Kevin's, you see, but his heating had broke. So they actually stayed at my sister's flat.
It was freezing.
They was a bit apprehensive about letting me know about them two getting together, which, when I discovered, you know, how could I have a problem with it? He's one of my best friends, and she's my sister.
Kerry hated living in that flat. She just didn't feel very safe. No safe at all.
He loved being with his family, he loved being with his friends, and everyone enjoyed being with him.
Kevin was very happy with Kerry, and we really believed they would stay together. I just thought they were perfect for each other.
Hey, do you want some toast?
No, I'm all right, thanks.
She was bright, bubbly, she loved her shopping and she liked going out with her friends. Friends she'd known since infant school, you know. She just loved life, Kerry.
Why?
Oh.
You said you didn't want any.
That's right.
So greedy.
Downstairs, someone was up to no good. Neighbours heard a racket down by the bins, and one even shouted at them to stop.
Oi! What are you doing?
Someone had set a fire. Eventually, the heat was so intense it blew out the windows of the downstairs flat. The blast was heard around the corner.
What was that? It's downstairs, and there's a fire.
What? Oh my God!
I'm at number 8 Sherwood House. I think a petrol bombs have been thrown through the flat below.
I've got a mate in that block.
We heard the sound of breaking glass, and that's when I thought maybe the factories were getting broken into.
Yeah. Yeah, Bush there, Sherwood House. Yeah. Yeah.
It's Kevin. Kevin Chappell. OK. Come on, let's get out of here.
I kept trying to get into the flats, but the smoke and the actual heat of the actual fire was just too overwhelming. It just pushed me back out every time.
Yes, Jet, top left. Mickey, bloody there.
We couldn't use the central staircase as there was fire in the stairwell, so anybody that was in the flats wouldn't be able to come out the regular way. There was a lot of heat, a lot of smoke coming out of the flat that was on fire and affecting the rest of the building.
Keep going, mate. Yeah, good. Yeah, up there.
But particularly the flat directly above, which is where Kevin and Kerry were. Unfortunately, because of where they was, they suffered greatest from it, and due to the smoke and the smoke inhalation, they was both unconscious when we found them.
I got to the hospital the Thursday morning and met James there, and we both went up to the ICU to see Kerry. She was in a pretty bad way on a life support.
I'm afraid on the Friday after that, Kerry passed away.
Kevin has sustained serious brain damage. We need all the prayers we can get, and we need a miracle because the doctors can't do any more than they already have. The doctors and nurses have done absolutely everything, and I just can't imagine my life without him.
30 people evacuated, 9 injured, police and ambulance crew among them. Kevin still fighting for his life, and Kerry dead. All this, and the target was a vulnerable resident who wasn't even there.
We know that Kerry and Kevin weren't the intended victims of the fire. The fire actually started here in the flat below. Now, the occupant of this flat had actually been intimidated by local youth and had moved out about 3 days before because of that intimidation. And we actually know that on the day of the fire itself, there were people in here mucking around. Someone actually had wet toilet roll thrown at them from the window, and it is essential that he speaks to that person. It may seem insignificant, but they may have vital information as to who was present in the flat on the day of the fire itself.
5 hours later, who was it hanging around outside the flat?
Oi! What are you doing?
Shortly after the fire started, 2 teenagers were seen running from the underpass under Southern Way. The first was 6 foot tall with light spiky hair. The second youth was smaller, maybe 5'6", with thick, dark hair. He was wearing a dark blue jacket with white writing on the back. CCTV shows 2 youths running in the opposite direction from the underpass, past Lloyd's TSB. One was wearing a light top, dark trousers and white trainers. The other had dark clothes with a white stripe down the trousers. Can you tell us who they were?
Now, there are 4 or 5 really strong leads here, and this is a really close-knit community, and I'm convinced that somebody has got that information, and now's the time that they need to come forward and let us know who is responsible for the fire.
Well, someone who could help is that man, around 50, we think, who had that wet loo roll thrown at him from the flat where the fire began. He was very tall, 6'3", and balding, wearing a dark blue fleece and blue trousers. What did he see? And who's that teenager by the bins shortly before the fire? 5'8", navy baseball cap, navy tracksuit bottom, single white stripe, look, there you see it, down the leg. And what about those 2 teenagers who were running away through an underpass? One had spiky hair and a bony, spotty face, maybe he's got a mild case of acne. The other had short, thick, scruffy, dark hair. And those aren't sideburns, they look a bit like it, but he's just very gaunt, apparently. His top had pale-coloured writing on the back, possibly saying Nicholson. I bet there are a few people who might know who he is. Police are keen to eliminate these 2 from their inquiries. The incident room number is 01279 641188.
There has declined. The new police service in Northern Ireland has been able to spend more time on other crime, and right now there's a re-investigation of a very high-profile case that we featured on Crimewatch 17 years ago. With a little help tonight, it could finally be solved. It's the story of this young German tourist, Inga Hauser.
Well, this month, police in Northern Ireland need your help with a murder investigation.
6 weeks ago, the body of a young woman was found by a farmer in County Antrim. She was Inga Hauser, an 18-year-old student who travelled to Britain from Munich using an Interrail pass.
2. April 1988. Ihr Lieben, ihr könnt euch wahrscheinlich gar nicht vorstellen, wie gut
2nd of April 1988. You dears, you can probably not imagine how much England pleases me. You don't need to worry. The people here are so helpful and lovely that I can't imagine anything bad could happen to me.
This case is 17 years old. On occasions, the passage of time can actually assist in police investigations. I believe this is the case with Inga Maria Hauser. There may be no large incident room in this case. There may be no huge team of detectives. But we have, for the first time in many years, a very positive and clear line of inquiry. And we have DNA. And this case is far from closed. Inga Maria Hauser was a bright, intelligent, attractive 18-year-old in her final year at a grammar school in Munich, who was on her first major travelling holiday away from her parents.
My journey through England is wonderful. I would much rather not come back. The day after tomorrow, I'm going on to Ireland. I'm looking forward to that the best.
Inga arrived in Harwich and on the 31st of March '88. She spent a few days sightseeing in London, and she travelled north through Bath and Oxford, Cambridge and Liverpool, right up to Inverness.
I have just arrived in Inverness at Loch Ness, where the monster lives, but I have sadly not seen it yet. My journey has run without a hitch so far, and it really is indescribably beautiful here. Unfortunately, my money is slowly running out.
In many investigations, it's quite difficult to track the movements of victims prior to their becoming victims. In Inga's case, she's a prolific writer. She makes copious notes in her diary. She writes postcards to friends and family continually, and she takes photographs of the places that she's visiting. So what we're left with is a very real and tangible record of her journey throughout England and Scotland prior to her arriving in Stranraer on the 6th of April.
Going to Glasgow now. Snowy mountains, wild landscape. Went from Glasgow to Ayr and from there to Stranraer to get over to Ireland. Saw the sea, beautiful and mysterious. Wonder where I stay tonight. Need more money.
That was Inga's last diary entry, the 6th of April, 1988. 2 weeks later, her body was found in Ballypatrick Forest in County Antrim. Police now think from the latest pathology reports that Inga was killed soon after she got off the ferry. So they're keen to trace all the drivers on that ferry, especially one who fits details given by a crucial anonymous informant in April 2002. And who matches a new profile from the National Crime Faculty.
From analysing the crime scene, I built up a detailed profile of this murderer,
and it's my opinion that he's very local to the area. He's very likely to have been on the ferry in Larne, and he will know Ballypatrick Forest very well.
The focus of this current investigation is very much the Galloway Princess. Inga embarking on the Galloway Princess, her time spent during the ferry crossing, and what happens when she gets off. My appeal is to anyone who saw this girl getting on the ferry, or disembarking from that ferry, to contact us. We believe Inga left the ferry on foot. She didn't get the train to Belfast, as was expected. We now believe that she got a lift. There were some 100 vehicles on the ferry, both cars and lorries. I'd like to hear from drivers or foot passengers who may have seen Inga take a lift in a car or a lorry leaving Larne that night. There's no evidence of Inga being alive after she got off that ferry.
It's my belief that Inga's killer would have been in his mid to late 20s at the time of the offence, which would put him in his early 40s today.
Did someone you know come home late that night? That's the 6th of April 1988. Did they not come home at all?
With the use of profiling, the police should be able to get to the offender far quicker, and at the end of the day, we've got his DNA.
She would be in her mid-30s now, perhaps living in Ireland, perhaps teaching English in Germany, perhaps with children of her own. Effectively, her life was stolen from her in a stupid, pointless waste.
If you only knew how much I love it here, I would much rather not come back.
Maybe someone on that ferry saw to it Inga would end her days here. But 17 years on, it looks like there may be an end in sight to the hunt for Inga's killer. And that call from 3 years ago may hold the key.
On the 22nd of April 2002, police received an anonymous call. The caller left information in respect of the murder of Inga Maria. The relevance of that information wasn't immediately clear. Having refocused on this investigation, it's my personal belief that the person who made that call knows who killed Inga Maria. I would ask for them to contact us again.
There's further exciting progress on this case. A laboratory in Denmark has been brought in to help with DNA identification. Genetic techniques have now developed so far that people who gave swabs back in 1988 will be asked to give new samples. If you can help, call us here.
And just today, a remarkable development. Because of renewed publicity on this case, a new witness has come forward and was interviewed this afternoon. She says she saw Inga get into a lorry on the ferry from Stranraer. The witness was so concerned at the time that she actually took down the registration number of the lorry. So there is everything to play for. Were you on that ferry too? It was the Galloway Princess, remember? It was the 6th of April, 1988. Incidentally, Inga's hair was slightly darker or slightly longer than in the picture that we showed. Do you remember Inga? There's her number, just here. The incident room's on 028 71 379 793. Walthamstow, East London.
Kim cool, man.
Kim's all right, man. She don't know we've left yet. It's all right. It's all right.
Snuck up.
Yeah. No, well, listen, it's all right. Mum has been telling us...
This is Goldsmiths Road in Walthamstow. And around 8 p.m. on Wednesday, the 16th of March, Stanley Williams and his cousin left to meet some friends just round the corner. They left Stanley's girlfriend, Kim, in the house.
Where you're going to be here? You can't even play him. No. Oh, man. Tragic. Tragic.
Oh, give me that control, man.
Hello?
It's me. Where you there?
I'm just at Victor's at the moment.
All right.
Not going to be late. All right, babe. See you later. Bye.
See you later.
At about 10:30, opposite the house, a driver noticed a man standing on the street corner.
Hi. You know me by myself, man. You can't come back?
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm just going to play one more game. It's all right. I won't be too long.
You know I worry about being in the house on my own.
All right. Yeah. No, it's cool. Don't worry. I'm just going to have one more game, all right, babe?
Okay. Bye.
All right. See you later. Bye.
You got that to go, eh?
One more game. I'm going to whip your ass.
One street away at the corner of Goldsmith Road and Shakespeare Road, two cars, maybe VW Golfs, blocked the junction. One was dark blue, the other was silver. A metallic light blue car was spotted halfway down Goldsmith Road. It could have been a Vauxhall Corsa or a Peugeot 206. Then, at around 11:15, a neighbour overheard a conversation, maybe someone on a mobile phone. A man said, "There's no one in. Shall I kick the door down?"
Come on, come on, come on, come on, get the goal.
But maybe Kim let someone in, because there was no obvious sign of forced entry. But once inside, something caused Kim to panic. She barricaded herself in the bedroom. Terribly injured and bleeding profusely, Kim tried to call for help, but she never completed the call. The row, though, had attracted attention, and a man in a hoodie was seen getting into the blue car on Goldsmith Road.
You man stay there, I'm going home to my girl. You must have long.
Long. Take over for him. Take over for him. Bye. See you later. Drive safe, yeah?
Stanley found Kim lying in a pool of blood. Appalled and shocked, he rushed off to get help.
Don't touch nothing, don't touch nothing. What do I do? I don't do to deserve this, man.
This is the DI in charge of the case. Why? What was behind this? What was the motive? Any idea?
Well, I think to be fair to say I'm not sure what the motive is, but what I can say is that in the house there was a substantial sum of money, and that may have been the motive for the killing.
The word had got out that there was money. I mean, I heard some figure of £14,000 was mentioned.
There is in the region of £14,000 found in the house. Now, I'm not sure whether there's a motive or not, and I'll be interested to find out if the word had got around. So I'd appeal to any of Nahkene's or Kim's friends, if they knew about the money, could they give me a ring, tell them how they knew about it and who told them.
So there was a lot of money in the house. There was a lot more money now available to people as a reward, because this murder has really been regarded as such a serious incident. Public funds have put up £20,000.
That's right. £20,000, which, as you say, is a significant reward.
And if the motive was Robb and it all went wrong, so the whole thing was a real mess in every sense, these guys will have panicked. I mean, the word really will have got around about who did this.
Well, one would hope so, and if anybody has any information, I would appeal to them to give me a ring.
Now, I should say Kim Nahkene was her real name.
Her real name was Nahkene. She was also known as Kim and also known as Nookie.
So people might know. Now, you've got to eliminate quite a number of sightings, as we saw. I mean, we start with the guy who was loitering outside 85, number 85 that night. It's about 10:30. Probably not connected with the crime. This is the 16th of March.
Quite possibly. He was on the opposite side of the road to number 85, and he could well be there for an innocent reason. If he was, please give me a ring so I can eliminate him from my inquiry.
Then you had these two cars that looked like VWs or something like Golfs or something like that by Shakespeare Road and Lowther Road. Silver and a dark blue car. It's about 11:30 again on the 16th of March. Maybe nothing to do with this whatsoever. For heaven's sake, you eliminate. You're going to be looking for these guys.
Yeah, I'm looking for those chaps. If they watch, give me a ring. Let me eliminate them from their inquiry.
What seems much more connected is the guy. Maybe he was on the mobile phone saying, you know, no one's in. What do you want me to do? Kick the door down? Which might have been a joke. Might have been the killer. Might have been unconnected.
Absolutely. Once again, if it's unconnected, I would urge them to give me a ring. Just so I can eliminate from the inquiry. As you rightly say, there could be suspects as well.
And this guy running to the lighter of the blue vehicles, apparently he was clutching something to his side or
He was holding
stomach.
his side. Now, whether he was actually holding an object or actually clutching his side because he was injured, I don't know. So if you've got a friend who was injured that night on the side of the body, I want to call.
But the main thing here is a very, very big reward. And this was a 20-year-old girl, home alone, unprotected, horribly injured because she was fighting back. She got an awful lot of defence wounds.
Well, I don't want to discuss the injuries in any great detail, but yes, she was very, very severely injured.
If you can help in any way, well, give us a call. It's free here, 0500 600 600, or you can call the incident room on 020 8345 4356. She disappeared 7 months ago in the middle of the night. But where is her body? And who killed her? Ballyhalbert on the Ards Peninsula in County Down. In World War II, it was an RAF base, well placed as a fighter station to defend Belfast 30 miles to the west. Hurricanes and Spitfires could hide here from the Luftwaffe. Today, it hides another secret. What happened to Lisa Dorrian?
Lisa Dorrian disappeared over the weekend of Sunday the 27th of February into Monday the 28th of February. After a week, I declared this to be a murder investigation. There has been much finger-pointing by various paramilitary groupings in relation to this killing. It is my belief as the detective in charge of this investigation that this was not a sectarian murder.
So, who did kill Lisa? By her own admission, Lisa did a lot of drugs. On this weekend, she partied from Friday to Sunday night. She ended up here at Ballyhalbert Caravan Park. You can still see the original runways, now flanked with caravans.
Come on in, hurry on. Man, this is good.
Would you slow down a wee bit?
No, come on in, hurry on.
By around 10 p.m. that Sunday evening, everyone had gone except Lisa and one of the boys. They were left together for the next 7 hours, and the drugs were getting to them.
They continued to party, and it would seem that they became paranoid at some stage in the early hours of Monday morning.
What was that? There is. It's these traps that they keep setting.
Just calm down. You're making me a bit paranoid here. We'd be better off outside. Give me your hand. Here, on the count of 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
Lisa was a loving, absolutely beautiful girl who loved life and her family and all her friends. She lived for the weekends. She loved going out and enjoying herself. She loved buying new clothes. She was just a normal girl.
Her taste in music was something totally out of my league. I think it was called rave or house, or I couldn't even tell you what the name for it was.
It was just thump 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 on the
ceiling. You could hear it up
ceiling.
in the bedroom, you know. And you'd say, turn it down. Well, they might turn it down a decibel, but you know, it was still there.
Lisa's friend ran to another caravan where he woke up the site warden and sought help in trying to find Lisa.
John! John, are you up? John! John! What the hell do you want? What the They're after me, they're after me. Who is it? Who's after you? They followed the road down the caravan. Me and Lisa just ran. They're after me. Right, hang on. Get some clothes on. Just right there. Let's go. Spin around. Have a look. We're here. There's no one here now, Darren. They wouldn't have went anywhere else. Look, will you just calm down, all right? We'll go for a spin around the caravan park in the car, right? Will that do? Right, okay. We're definitely here.
The pair searched the site and the surrounding area. Lisa was nowhere to be seen.
There are still a lot of unanswered questions. I have one witness who lives nearby to the caravan park who woke to the sound of men shouting. He believes this sound came from the direction of the caravan park. I need to know who this was. I also need to trace a young woman who was seen by a witness at around 5:45 a.m. in Ballyhalbert village near Cocky's shop. This was either on Sunday the 27th or possibly Monday the 28th of February.
If this was you, I don't care what you were doing. I need you to come forward so that I can eliminate you from this inquiry.
Lisa was such a beautiful, loving girl. I can't imagine anybody would intentionally want to harm her. I just can't understand that.
It's hard to say when people say, you know, how many children have you got? I used to have 4, now I've only got 3.
And distressing, even more distressing for the parents, you still haven't found the body.
Yes, the body is the key to this, and that's what we're trying to find. A, to give the family peace of mind, and B, to help us catch the people that did this to Lisa.
This area, the Ards Peninsula, there'll be a lot of sort of walkers out there are hunters out there, people who might have... And she was dressed in very distinctive clothing.
Yes, she was, and we have been out with the police have searched. They've searched by land, by air, by sea. We've used underwater search teams to search lakes around the place. But I would appeal to people if they're out and about. It's a large area, the Ards Peninsula. I would appeal to people if they see she was wearing distinctive clothing, a pair of very white moon boots and a jacket with a fur collar. I would appeal to people if they see those or see signs of disturbed ground to get in touch with us, please.
Now the caravan, of course, on the Ards Peninsula has got sea around it. It was only about 200 yards from the sea. Obviously you didn't fall in the sea because you'd have found her very quickly.
Yes. If she'd fallen into the sea, we believe that the tide would have brought her back in. However, searching for Lisa's body in water is one of the things that we have been doing. One of the appeals I want to make tonight is in relation to boat owners, and boat owners who have either bought or sold the boat privately since the beginning of February this year until the end of May. Would they please contact us in this programme? And also in relation to boat owners, anyone in the Ards Peninsula who owns a boat or keeps a boat in the Ards Peninsula, would you please contact us if you think that your boat has been broken into or tampered with sometime from the end of February.
And of course you also need to rule out the girl that looked very much like Lisa in the centre of Ballyhalbert. We're not sure if it's that same night. That's the problem with that.
Yeah, that is the problem with that. Our witness isn't sure whether it was the Saturday into Sunday night or the Sunday into Monday night that they saw this girl, but I would appeal for her, please, to come forward so that it can help us eliminate her from our inquiries.
Okay, well, if you've seen anything, particularly if you know anything about boats that could be relevant, call us here in the studio or the incident room on 028 90 90 1132. Or on this or on any other case, you can call Crime Stoppers, always anonymously if you want. There, it's a free phone, 0800 555 111. And you can text us here at Crimewatch 2. The number's 83199. To get through to us, please begin your text with the letters CW for Crimewatch, and then begin your message. In moments, she was killed by what increasingly looks like a serial attacker.
Sally Ann Bowman had a career as a model ahead of her. She was just 18. In the early hours of week last Sunday, Sally Ann sat talking in her ex-boyfriend's car practically outside her home in Croydon. They'd been out earlier at a local club. Here's Sally Ann coming into Lloyd's, a bar in Croydon town centre, late on the Saturday night. She buys drinks at the bar and talks to friends. She leaves with her sister around 1 a.m. to go to a friend's house. And this is Sally Ann in the outfit she was wearing that night. At 2 in the morning, she comes back into Croydon in a cab. Around 20 minutes later, her ex-boyfriend picks her up and drives her home to Blenheim Crescent. They chat for a good hour and a half before he drives away at 4:15 in the morning. Sally Ann walked just a few steps from the car before confronting her killer. Well, Danielle and Nicole, Sally Ann's sisters, are here, and DCI Stuart Cundy. Danielle, you were with Sally Ann earlier that night, weren't you? Because you dropped her off in Croydon for a night out. I presume she was just looking forward to a good time.
She was, certainly. She couldn't wait to go home, get ready and choose her outfit for the evening ahead of her.
And she was just 18. She had a whole life ahead of her. She had the whole world ahead of her.
Sally was the best sister, daughter and aunt you could possibly wish for. She was a beautiful young woman inside and out, and she was just like any other typical teenager. She was flighty and loved to sing, dance and entertain, and we all miss her. We miss her dearly.
Now, Stuart, the man who did this, you know quite a bit about him now, because he's been linked to other attacks before, hasn't he?
Yes, he has, yeah. I know from DNA forensic evidence that he committed an indecent assault in 2001. Now, that's 4 years before he murdered Sally Ann.
But it was in the same area, wasn't it? That's crucial.
That's right. It's about a mile away in Purley Cross area, about a mile from where Sally Ann was found, in Blenheim Crescent.
And then he's been linked to another attack earlier on that night, the night Sally Ann was killed.
That's right. Sally Ann was killed. It's the early hours of Sunday, 25th of September. An attack on another woman happened less than an hour before Sally Ann was murdered. That's about 3:30, 20 to 4 in the morning. It was a robbery. Similar sort of property was taken in that attack. It's a very similar description of the man who I believe is responsible.
Because that's one of the key things. You've been able to get a description now of what this man looks like,
yes,
the kind of build
right.
he has.
Yes, yes. The victim of that robbery has been able to provide with an excellent description of the suspect. Indeed, an EFIT has been produced, plus a witness who saw, who I believe is the same man in Blenheim Crescent very soon after a scream was heard. And I believe it's the same man that's responsible for both attacks in a very short space of time.
He's certainly very striking features when you look at him. I mean, one thing that struck me when I was there yesterday was from Sally Ann getting out of the car to getting to her front door, to getting where she was murdered. It's just a dozen steps. I mean, it's very likely this guy was hanging around waiting for her, isn't it?
I think there's a very high chance that he was waiting. Where he was waiting, I don't know, but I think someone might have seen him and not realised how significant that was.
In terms of his modus operandi, he has kept items from Sally Ann. When he attacked the woman earlier on, he took items from her, he kept those, you haven't found them,
no.
And the items Sally Ann. Now talk us through these things that are still missing, Stuart.
Yeah, Danielle and Nicole have helped us immensely. Sally Ann had a white Prada handbag, identical to this handbag, but with the badge that wasn't on it but would have been inside. In there would have been a passport and also a black Samsung mobile phone like the one on the table. We're also missing a white crochet bolero style cardigan, similar to the one here but a little bit shorter, more up around the midriff. None of those items have been found, and that's despite a lot of appeals to members of the public in the area. There is a strong possibility the person responsible still has these. And similar items were also taken from the victim of the robbery less than an hour before.
Now, if he committed one assault back in 2001, and then now we have, of course, the murder of Sally Ann, it's certainly possible that he has attacked other women in that time, or he may have been in prison, but it's possible that other women may have been assaulted by him. You'd like to hear from them tonight, wouldn't you?
I would, and I'd urge anybody who has been the victim of a sexual attack, that can be an assault, it can be being followed, being flashed at, in the South Croydon or Purley area.
Because that's crucial, isn't it? It's in that local area. That's the information you want.
That's right, it's in that area. The two attacks that are linked and the robbery that I believe is linked are all in that area. Now, those women may have some important information that could assist us. The sooner this dangerous person is taken off the street, the better it is for all women in that area.
I mean, it's possible he may have a girlfriend, he may be married. Someone will know this person, won't they?
That's right. The victim of the robbery said to us that the man who attacked her was good looking. Now, she said, and I believe, that it's a very strong chance he has got a partner or a girlfriend, and I'd appeal, if you have a suspicion about someone you know, please contact us. Contact the Instant Room or Crime Stoppers. If it isn't that person, I can eliminate them very quickly.
You've got DNA, you can rule them out.
I have DNA evidence, I can very quickly eliminate them from the inquiry. Please contact us. Someone knows who this individual is, and I'd ask them to contact us.
OK, well, Danielle and Nicole and Stuart, thank you all very much. Call us here in the studio or the incident room on 020 8721 4005. Or if you want to, you can call Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. And you can now text us as well. The number's 83199. Begin your text with the letters CW for Crimewatch and then your message.
Country, mullet haircuts weren't a joke, and Live Aid at Wembley thrilled the world for the first time. But for a teenager in South Wales, that summer of '85 will always be remembered with grief and pain. Her mother was murdered, and by a killer was happy to see others pay for what he'd done.
Things have changed, obviously, the town itself, and my feelings towards the town have changed.
Hairstyles have changed too. In 1985, a perm was cutting-edge fashion in Swansea for both teenager and mum. But Elizabeth was about to lose her mother in a murder that shocked, then haunted South Wales. Elizabeth moved away from Swansea, but now she's back to meet detectives who, 20 years on, are looking again for her mother's killer.
It's bringing up a lot of memories and things that I thought were over and done with, but if at the end of the day I find out who was responsible, then it will be worth it for peace of mind.
Good morning, this is Swansea Sound on Friday the 14th of June.
It's just a normal school morning, the usual rushes to get ready. In her case, work, me, school.
Elizabeth's mum, Sandra Phillips, took a job as manageress at this sex shop in Swansea town centre. Behind the blacked-out windows, it sold pornography and erotic toys and clothes.
She worked in the private shop in Dilwyn Street, and it would appear that she worked in the shop because, like any other working parent, she needed money to put food on the table and provide for her family.
She just saw it as a job. It wasn't anything to be embarrassed by. We just used to laugh more than anything about it, so.
But though she might have joked in front of her children, by the summer of 1985, just a few weeks into the job, Sandra was having misgivings. She told her husband about some disturbing customers.
One male in particular masturbated in front of Sandra, and there have been other instances where people have gone in and exposed. And she worked there by herself, long hours as well. So yeah, she was vulnerable.
On that Friday morning, the 14th of June, 4 people tried to phone the shop, but Sandra didn't answer.
The area manager is trying to make contact with Sandra and can't get any reply, which then leads to Mr. Williams arriving in Swansea, finding the front door partially locked. The practice amongst the staff was that if they had gone out to get some food or whatever, they would leave a sign on the door saying back in 2 minutes. That sign wasn't on there. So his initial reaction of Mr. Williams was of annoyance. You know, why isn't this shop open? It's a trading day. He used his set of keys and gained entry. He was met with a sight of very much just the shop as it normally is. In the middle of the floor of the shop was a garment, a basque, predominantly red with black trim. That was a product for sale in the shop. Why that garment was in the floor at the moment, I'm not clear about. There was a strong smell of petrol. And then, unfortunately, he sighted the body of Sandra Phillips.
Sandra's tights had been ripped down, she'd been battered to death. She was 38 years old.
Sandra had been subject to a vicious and violent attack. Multiple injuries, primarily to the head. There's signs of strangulation, and there's also marks to her body. Still 20 years on, looking at the pictures, I'm still shocked at the severity of the beating.
Word soon spread around the town and a crowd began to gather. 14-year-old Elizabeth was unaware of all the commotion.
We came in from playing, and then I can remember that I couldn't put my finger on it, but there was an atmosphere. My uncle told me that my mum had been killed. I just didn't believe him at first, and I said I don't think it really sank in for a good while afterwards.
2 men in those crowds in Dilwyn Street caught the attention of police. Brothers Wayne and Paul Darvell had both been known to visit the sex shop and were often seen sitting on a grassy bank opposite. Within 24 hours, they'd been arrested.
Wayne Darvell made a confession to interviewing police officers. Wayne, in essence, said that both of them had been involved in the incident. Now, Paul never made any admissions. Subsequently, both Wayne and Paul faced trial.
Say we were happy is the wrong choice of words, but it was a relief. We thought that we'd sort of put it all to rest then, and it would be the end of it.
Wayne and Paul Darvell were convicted and sentenced to life. But the case would soon become notorious. The fact is, they didn't do it.
You had a few years that you believed it was over, and then somebody suddenly says it might not be.
Doubts about the Darvell's guilt came to a head in 1988 with the BBC's Rough Justice programme. The biggest concern was that the prosecution rested on Wayne's confession. He made that confession with no solicitor there to advise him. What's more, Wayne had a reputation for admitting to things he hadn't done.
There are questions to be asked, however inconvenient, about the conviction of the brothers. For those reasons, we and Justice will be sending a file on Wayne and Paul Darvell to the Home Office. Good night.
Two brothers convicted of murdering a sex shop manageress in 1985 have been cleared and freed by the Court of Appeal.
The brothers thanked their family, the BBC programme Rough Justice, which helped reopen the case, and the
6 years imprisonment for a crime he didn't commit took their toll on Paul Darvell. He lost all his hair and 3 stones in weight.
Because I was so young, I didn't know, in a sense, who to blame, if anybody was to blame. We were back, if you like, to square one, where we didn't know, again, who'd done it.
"20 years after Sandra was murdered, her violent killer is still at large, and the investigation has been revived. The private shop is still in business, though some of the layout has changed. This summer, the police literally tore down the walls to get to the truth. Behind the old panelling, they found 9 sets of fingerprints. One of them could well be the killer's.
We had to understand the fingerprints. It's very easy to say fingerprints were in the premises, but actually my question is, why were your fingerprints in that location? And I've basically started the investigation again. In essence, I'm looking at every technique we can to be able to sit down to the family and say, we're doing the best by you.
Elizabeth, Superintendent Clark. Simon Clark, Superintendent. Thanks for coming down today. People say to me, how are you going to do this 20 years down the line? It's been done in the past, it will be done in the future. There are people out there who know who did this.
Going over a lot of things that, in a sense, I have buried. I don't talk about them a lot.
There will be times
The best evidence still comes from the private shop itself. This is how it looks today, but 20 years on, original footage of the crime scene is still intact.
Behind the counter was a payphone. The handset had been removed. It seemed that the person responsible for the killing had taken the handset. That phone handset has never been recovered.
Sandra had a Williams & Glynn checkbook and card. The killer took the card, but left the checkbook. Why? 20 years ago, one was useless without the other.
The most significant thing that's never been recovered are her keys. The front door of the private shop was locked, and therefore it seemed right to assume that the person responsible for the killing has taken the keys, gone outside, and locked the door.
Was it a sex attack? Remember, her clothing had been disturbed, but Sandra wasn't raped.
I think it's a fair assumption to make at this time that there was a sexual motive to this. Did somebody who attended that premise think that because she worked in a shop like that she was an easy target, or that she offered services that she quite clearly did not?
And why was petrol splashed around, then not set on fire?
Why didn't they do that? Where did they get the petrol from? Did they bring the petrol there? I think Sandra was alive until about 11 o'clock that morning. And I think at about 11 o'clock she was killed. I say that based on the last action on the till.
There were 2 men seen outside the shop around the time of the murder that police still need to trace.
At about 11 o'clock that morning, a man described as being of portly build, white, about 35 years of age, was seen to leave the shop. He was wearing a Trilby-style hat and was also seen to carry a brown package like this. At 11:15, 11:20 that morning, a witness saw a man leaving the shop, and he's described at the front door as if he is locking it. This man is described as being in his late 50s. Today, he would be in his 70s. This is what we're left with.
I miss is that I've never been able to speak to her as an adult, be it about just advice on bringing up my own son or general chit-chat, just pick up the phone to say how are you and what are you doing today sort of thing, and those are the things that I miss most.
You know, I would dearly love to be able to sit with you one day and tell you exactly what I think happened. We're not there yet, but I'm sure we will get to that point. If there's something you don't want to talk about, until I've exhausted every line of inquiry and done it again and checked and reassured myself there's nothing more my staff and myself can do, I won't rest.
In fact, one of Britain's best-known detectives was brought out of retirement to help review the case and what had gone wrong with the original inquiry, Albert Kirby. And the Darvell wrong conviction really clouded the whole thing. But supposing you'd been in charge of that investigation in 1985, Crimewatch was recently on the air, you were on the programme then, what would you have appealed about?
Simon Clark's identified this man seen leaving at about 11:15, locking the door. He has got to be the main emphasis. And what I would say to you viewers are, who do you know who fits that description in 1985? Probably about 70 years of age now. Who could have uncontrolled anger one minute and very controlled and calm the next? Who
you mean calm enough to then go out and lock the door rather than run away afterwards?
Exactly, yeah. And who do you recall that individual having blood on their clothing, coming in with this very, very strong smell of petrol on their clothing? And as you say, having that composure to lock the door after they've done a brutal murder and then walk away apparently as if nothing has happened.
And presumably come by car, because where did he get the petrol from? I mean, it wasn't seen bringing petrol to the shop, there wasn't petrol in the shop.
I think that's an added factor with it, that they probably had access to petrol at the spur of the moment. They wouldn't have gone, I don't think, to a garage and bought petrol and then come back again. They probably had ready access to it.
He went off with the keys after he'd locked the shop. This is a replica of the key fob. It's a Royal Marines key fob, and that's never really turned up. I'm not sure he'd have kept this. You wanted to trace, you were telling me earlier, everybody who ever went to that sex shop in 1984, 1985. They might be rather reluctant to come forward.
It's no big deal, was it, to go to a shop like that, certainly in today's climate. But what I would say, if you went there, if you know any information, and bearing in mind that the inquiry team now are making really positive lines in looking at fingerprint examination, forensic analysis, pathology analysis, for goodness sake, if you were there, if you fit that type of bill, or you know anyone, come and see us before that policeman comes knocking on your door. And all I would say to anyone, if they've got any doubts, just remember what Elizabeth Gray said. She wants peace of mind. She's brought up her own family, as her brothers have, and they've never had a mother to turn to.
Well, give us the name. They've got the evidence to convict if you can help us. And remember the personality. You married to him, were you? Someone in Swansea at the time, very violent one minute, could be quite controlled. Call us here. The number is always on the screen for the studio. You can try the instant room on this case is 01792 555 576.
Everyone's queuing for taxis. Most of us have been there, haven't we? So it was for Andrew Robb and David McIlwaine, 2 Northern Ireland lads. But their decision to stick together proved to be fatal. 2 young men lie side by side in a cemetery in Portadown. Being together is what cost them their lives. Andrew Robb and David McIlwaine were both stabbed in the middle of the night, almost in the middle of nowhere. 5 years on, we don't know who did it or why. We do know the pair had no idea what they were letting themselves in for when they let their friends go ahead in a taxi.
This is not a bus. Only taking a 401's going to have to get out.
Davey, look, it's okay. We can get in our taxi, all right? Look, guys, I'll see you later, right?
That's the way it is.
From here, they went in search of a friend's house. A neighbour saw them in the close.
I'm not really sure where it is. I'm almost sure it's that one.
Well, you've been here before.
But I haven't been up here in a while. It's that has to be the lights are on. There's no. Busy girl. She let us in, will she? Aye, she let us in.
Hope so.
Sorry, lads, is Gemma in there?
Gemma? Next door, buddy.
Okay, thanks a minute, lads. See you later.
All right, good luck. What's this Gemma like?
Gemma's only. Sorry. Let us in on me there.
It's the middle of the night. You guys think I don't sleep?
Come on, Gemma.
Do you want to be here all night?
What's that?
Oh, I know me too
Well, where were you?
Just down the club there, so we're.
The lads decided to stay for a while.
I've been drinking all day, so we'll have.
Why were we earlier?
We're a couple of parties earlier, and then we all went to the club.
After a quarter of an hour, the men from next door turned up.
What's happening?
Well, boys. What do you want to do? Go next door?
I'm going to bed, guys. Get your scallywags.
You're not coming around, no?
No, I'm not.
Get the cars and have another game.
At around 2:30 a.m, a witness saw a taxi pull up outside with a man sitting behind the driver. I believe that Andrew and David got into that taxi, and as it drove off, others followed in a red Peugeot 205. It seems likely that a third car joined the convoy as they headed for the Drummondmuir Road.
A witness working late in the area heard a car with a very noisy exhaust. It was travelling towards the Drummondmuir Road.
I'm going for a piss.
They were horrifically, brutally murdered. Like, people have done this. There's blood on their hands. There's blood on their clothes. They came in with it. And people know. And the people that know should say.
At 4:30 a.m, after the murders took place, I have a witness who saw a red Peugeot 205 car parked up beside a phone box in Church Street, Tandragee. And I know there was no telephone calls made to or from that phone box, so I want to know who they are and why they were there. I've been a police officer for 18 years, and this was the worst crime scene I've ever attended. These young men were not just stabbed, they were practically decapitated. It's beyond comprehension, it was horrendous, and whoever did this has to be caught.
It's very hard to cope with. You know, it's something you'll never get over. Like, you go to bed at night and it's the last thing on your mind. You waken in the morning, it's the first thing on your mind.
Our lives are gone. The lives we had finished on the 19th of February 2000. They just ceased as they were. You know, we live different lives now, and we try to make the best of the life we have. If any one of the murderers came forward and asked me for forgiveness, I would forgive them. And I would have no trouble with that at all. But it's not my forgiveness they need to be asking. It's God's forgiveness.
Well, DCI Team Hanley, you're leading this investigation, and looking at that reconstruction, you appear to have something of a head start on this investigation. You've got a taxi driver and a man who lived next door at the scene.
Well, there were a number of persons arrested and a large number of people were interviewed in relation to this inquiry. Now, certainly, at the time of the murders, there was a conspiracy of silence, but I'm sure that doesn't exist now.
Here we are, we're 5 years on now.
Yes, but there are people out there who have intimate and detailed knowledge of what happened, and I really want them to ring in tonight or to contact the police.
It's worth saying right at the beginning that you are absolutely guaranteeing confidentiality for anyone who rings in.
If someone can show the moral courage to ring in or to contact the police, I can assure them, I can guarantee them confidentiality.
We can't trace any calls here to the studio, and anyone who rings you, rings the incident room, no one is going to know who they are.
That's correct.
You said in that reconstruction that the level of violence was horrendous. You'd never seen anything like this before. I mean, it's fair to say, isn't it? It was almost psychotic.
I have to agree. If you look at the degree of violence and the nature of the injuries, whoever carried this out, it was psychotic, and they have to be caught.
He or they would have been covered in blood, presumably, after something like this.
They would have been saturated in blood, and they went somewhere to clean up, possibly to dispose of the knives, possibly to dispose of clothing. There's someone out there who knows where that clean-up house was, and I need them to contact the police.
Now, someone who's capable of showing that explosive level of violence, it's pretty unlikely that they go around meek and mild-mannered in the rest of their lives. I mean, someone is going to know this person or these persons for that facet of their personality, for that violence in their personality, aren't they?
Well, I've no doubt that that violence would manifest itself in any relationship they've been in since the murders, so I'd be very keen to contact former spouses or partners and speak with them.
There were others at the scene there that you're also keen to trace.
There are others at the scene, and there's a large circle of knowledge as to what happened. And as I say, we need them to show the moral courage to ring in tonight or to reflect on it for a day or two and to contact the police. And that's it. I mean, it's worth saying, is it? Because people may not feel after 5 years they're going to call tonight, but it may be once they've thought about it for a few days, they might want to pick up the phone and get through to you. Again, if this person is as violent as he looks, they might be frightened about calling for very understandable reasons, but no one is going to know who they are. No one's going to know, and sometimes that passage of time can help the inquiry. You know, relationships break up, allegiances change, and people move away from the area. And it's those people that have that knowledge that I want to contact Crimewatch tonight or the police. Okay, Tim, thanks very much. There is, incidentally, a £10,000 reward. Call us here in the studio. We can trace no calls that come into the studio, not one. Or call the incident room direct on 0208 37 517 390.
And welcome to Crimewatch.
The man who killed Sally Ann Bowman and her driver nearly 3 months ago could be your neighbour, friend or workmate. He's melted back into the community, just as he seems to have done 4 years ago when he exposed himself to a woman making a call from a phone box.
But now we know quite a bit more about him. Just before his lethal attack on Sally Ann, he found another woman making a phone call. Thankfully, she survived what happened. She's been able to describe how, astonishingly, the attacker apologised to her, even as he was bringing his knife repeatedly down on her head.
A little over half an hour later, he found Sally Ann. She didn't survive to tell us her story, but we've pieced it together. We pick it up just 2 hours before she was confronted by her killer.
I must have mug tattooed on my forehead. Get in the car.
Stop!
Don't start. Come on.
Freezing!
Freezing?
What took you so long?
You are unbelievable, you know that. You are Why don't you get a cab like another normal person?
What's the problem? Would you rather
I'm not a taxi service, am I?
I didn't say you were.
Unbelievable.
She started going out on Christmas Day 2 years ago, and our relationship was good, but we did have quite a few arguments and that because we were both stubborn and argumentative.
Me and Sally sat in the car for an hour or two just arguing, making up, laughing, play fighting, just messing about. And but that was perfectly normal for us to be out at them times in the car.
Just saying you don't need to be so moany at me.
So work all right then?
Yeah. It's getting a bit busy though.
You know, it's better to do something to do.
Who's that?
What's his problem? What's that about?
All right, calm down.
What do you mean calm down? What's he doing?
Calm down.
I don't believe this man had anything to do with the attack on Sally Ann. He is an important witness, and I do urgently need to speak to him.
I got out the car because I needed to get a better signal, and I crossed the road.
I'm really sorry. I am going to make it, but the car's giving me real trouble.
He looked normal. He looked a nice young lad. When I saw the knife, that's when I honestly thought I was going to die.
Take it!
Sorry.
And that's when he stopped and he looked at me and he looked terrible. He looked really, really awful. And if it wasn't for the fact of what he'd done to me, if I just walked in on the scene, I'd have thought he was in trouble and gone over again to ask him if he needed help.
Now that phone that attacker took with him, it was connected. The person on the other end of that phone could hear this man. They could hear him breathing. They could hear him retching. And most significantly, they could hear the screams of the woman who'd been attacked. Now, what's probably most bizarre and most interesting is those screams never got any quieter like you'd expect if the man was running off down the road. Now that can only mean one thing. The man stayed close by, he was probably hiding, and he was probably watching the events unfold in front of him.
Come with me, come on, let's put you in the cab, come on, come on.
Now that phone call ended just before 4:45 in the morning. At some point, he must have crossed the Brighton Road, but for half an hour, where was he?
Are you off then, babe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you later.
See ya.
I do have a witness who did see something. They saw a man walking down the street back to Sally's house a few minutes after Sally was attacked. I'm convinced that is the killer returning to the scene. He took a bag, he took some items of clothing, he took a phone. What did he do with that phone? Did he take any pictures with it? He also took the knife, and that knife has never been recovered. "20 minutes after the attack, a witness saw a car parked in Blenheim Park Road, and that's right at the entrance to Blenheim Crescent where Sally Ann was killed. The car's a Ford Mondeo, but next to that car was a man who was leaning against the fence. He's a white man. What was he doing there? Did he see anything? Did he hear anything?" This attack on Sally Ann is frankly just completely off the scale. I have never seen injuries that she suffered in my experience. Not only was Sally stabbed a number of times, she was also sexually assaulted. She was also brutally bitten a number of times on her body. Now, I can't get across, in words what I saw with my own eyes. He's not just destroyed Sally as a girl, he's destroyed her future, and he's destroyed her family in many ways.
I see her family and that, and it just reminds me of her, and I see my friends with their girlfriends like hugging and like going to the cinema, and it's just hard knowing that I'll never be able to like spend another day with Sally.
This is DCI Stuart Cundy here in the studio. We've shown more violence in that than we've done in almost any other Crimewatch reconstruction. That's not a tenth of it.
It's not. It's a very powerful film. not only was Sally stabbed a number of times, she's bitten a number of times on her body. She was also the victim of a violent sexual attack. Now, mercifully for Sally, much of that attack occurred after she was dead.
So she was sexually assaulted after he had killed her?
There are aspects of what happened to her that occurred after she died.
Now, the guy may look perfectly normal, may behave perfectly normally. I mean, apparently, according to the witness, you know, quite good looking. How can people identify him? How much do you know about him?
Well, he may appear normal, he might not appear strange to people who know him, but there are specific parts of, you know, aspects of what he's done which, you know, as I said earlier, are frankly off the scale. 2001, a mile away in Purley Cross, woman in a phone box. This man goes up to that phone box, stands in front of this woman, and then masturbates in front of her. There is forensic evidence, DNA evidence, that links him from that 2001 attack to Sally's attack.
But how if his mother, if his sister, if his brother, if his uncle, if his friends at work are watching, how are they going to identify him?
He's a white man, or at least very pale-skinned. He's probably between his mid-20s and mid-30s, average height, average build. He's not one extreme or the other. The woman who was attacked in Sanderstead Road said he had a Surrey accent. Now, I take that to mean it was a normal accent. It wasn't regional, wasn't a foreign accent or something like that. But he also took property from both from her and from Sally. Now, we never got that property back, and I think there's a strong chance he's retained it. He's kept it possibly as a trophy.
So he's got all these things. He's around 30, sort of medium to tallish. He's Surrey. He dresses well, good looking, and secretive. He's got this sort of secretive.
I think
and of course, he must have been in South Croydon.
Well, that's right.
Area.
2001, Purley Cross. It's less than a mile or thereabouts to where Sally Ann was murdered.
So you want people to ring in with anybody who fits that description in the South London area, even if they don't think whoever it is mad enough to do this?
I would urge anybody who has any suspicion about someone they know, look at that video that's just been shown, look at how horrendous his actions were on that night. Phone in. Those calls you call into police or call in here tonight will be treated in confidence. I can easily eliminate any name that is given to me.
Because you've got complete DNA?
I have the DNA evidence. I can easily eliminate
now,
any
of course,
person.
He might look normal, behave normally. He might, of course, have some real psychiatric condition or a personality disorder, in which case he'd have come into contact, or may, with psychiatric services.
He may well have. I retain an open mind to that. It may be this man has never been in trouble with police before. He may, to his close friends and family, not appear strange in the most common sense aspect of that word.
Of course, it could well be, if he is suffering serious inner turmoil, and it can be wretched to have some sort of disease like the worst forms of schizophrenia. If it's someone who's watching, if you are watching, give us a call. A lot of people who can help, just call us here in the studio. Anyway, anybody who's watching can help in this. If you know anybody who fits that sort of description, even vaguely, easy to eliminate, as you heard, call us or call the Instant Room on 020-8721-4005. And if you've been the victim of a crime, this has been bringing it all back home to you, want to talk to somebody, you can always ring victim support on 0845 30 30 900.